So California is going through a minimum wage hike. They want to raise the minimum wage, which, by the way, when you think about, I'm going through this and I'm reading this article and I'm being reminded what the minimum wage is in California for different kind of jobs, and I'm absolutely blown away. Let me just read it to you to just kind of give you an idea what this says. So California turns on minimum wage increase, rejected Proposition 32, which sought to raise the statewide minimum wage to $18 an hour, making the first state to turn down a minimum wage increase at the ballot in nearly 30 years. Okay, and this is California. Joe Condi, CEO of California Restaurant Association, called the result historic, arguing it reflected voters' frustration with policies that makes life more expensive for everyone. By the way, it doesn't show it here. Rob, can you pull up the minimum wage numbers for fast food? You know what minimum wage is right now if you work at McDonald's, you're a 17-year-old kid? California? $20 an hour.
$20. Wow. Oh, that's right. I think that the
minimum wage is $20 an hour. You know what it is? If you're working in a hospital, I think it's some kind of a hospital, I think it was $25 an hour. They're sitting there realizing, bro, you just raised minimum wage to $20. Big Mac is expected. I can't afford it anymore. They're doing this while another story comes out, Rob, if you want to play the clip on this, because I know you got it. It's a BBC clip. Los Angeles City and schools make themselves migrant sanctuaries. Play this clip.
Without objection, it is passed.
Who's
to all of the future federal leaders that are going to take over very soon, I tell them this, that with this action today, what the LA City Council is trying to say is that we're not going to allow for the actions that once upon a time took place in 1954, where with Operation, I don't choose to use a second word, or what happened in the 1970s when they did massive deportations and broke families. Los Angeles is not going to let that happen.
Given the re-election of Donald Trump and the consistent hate speech towards undocumented people and mixed status families, I can't think of a more pressing.
He's reading it.
By the way, if you guys are so right in what you're talking about, you can pause it, Rob. Why are people leaving your state? Why are people leaving your wonderful city? People don't agree with you, guys. Even with your wonderful cat glasses that you have on to make you seem like you went to some Ivy League school, whatever those glasses she's wearing, good for you. Look at those glasses. Yeah. She's like a cat lady type of glasses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She looks like she's a lot of fun.
I mean, you go to lens crafters, and you say, can I get, because I have the CEO of Lens Crafters here, but I'm talking like you go to Lens Crafters, and you ask them, do you have the cat lady glasses? That's this one. You just say, can I get the cat lady glasses? Yep. While this is going on, you know what Trump says he's going to be doing? Let me tell you what Trump's going to be doing. Trump's confirming that he's going to use military to assist in mass deportation.
Good.
And Rob, play a couple of these clips for people to see and finish it with Tom Homan if you can. And for the folks that are open to the idea of being, maybe converted or baptized into some common sense, listen to these folks and say, you have logic. If you can reason, you tell me if any of this stuff makes sense. Go ahead, Rob. Here's Pritzker, billionaire or Illinois governor. Go ahead.
Are deeply concerned about, the President of the United States calling out military inside the United States,
no outside,
where people are peaceful, even if there may be people who are undocumented. But
very
the idea of calling out,
Venezuelan
the army
gang members taking over apartment
into
complex.
the domestic confines of the United States seems uncalled for and may in fact be unconstitutional.
When voters have spoken and they
we'll
disagree
look into that.
with you.
I honestly, he says a lot of things. You never know what he's telling the truth about. So we'll have to see.
Is that a Wendy's flag next to the American flag?
What's the next one you got, Rob? Give me a good one. Who is this?
This is Boston Mayor Michelle Wu.
Okay, go for it.
What will Boston's response be if these mass deportations take place?
Yeah, look, elections have consequences, and the federal government is responsible for a certain set of actions, and cities, no individual city can reverse or override some parts of that. But what we can do is make sure that we are doing our part to protect our residents in every possible way, that we are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone by causing widespread fear and having large-scale economic impact.
So look into that phrase. Threatening the safety of who? U.S. citizen or illegal immigrants? Who is it threatening the safety of? Go ahead, Rob.
Actually, neither.
Right. Go ahead.
Defending our residents every possible way. Well, she's not very smart, I'll give her that. Because what I just said is President Trump's going to prioritize public safety threats. What mayor or governor doesn't want public safety threats out of their communities. I mean, that's her number one responsibility, is to protect her communities. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So she helps us, she gets the hell out of the way, because we're going to do it. And look, there's a clear line here, and they can't cross a clear line. I would suggest she read Title 8, United States Code 1324 III, that says, you can't harbor or conceal an illegal alien from front of law enforcement officers. So I hope she don't cross that line. They can not cooperate, but there are certain laws in place that they can't cross, and I hope she doesn't cross it. But
there you go, Tom. Thoughts on this?
Well, yeah, it's funny. They're all trying to throw the peanut butter, see what's going to stick, and it's not going to stick. The American people voted, and immigration was the number one or number two issue for voters by intensity. The economy was pretty much number one across the board. Immigration was number two, and then it dropped down. We're talking about intensity of the voter. How intense did they feel about it? And the voters have spoken. And now these bureaucrats going to the microphone and making their statements and saying, well, we're not going to cooperate, we're not going to do this. Your voters, your citizens said, I want it to be safe. And there are people that came here that are doing things that Laken Riley was killed by one of them. So how you say we're not going to cooperate, who are you protecting? You're protecting a bunch of people that have arrived here without permission versus protecting the citizens that are there paying the property tax on the house they're trying to protect? Come on. I mean, J.B. Pritzker, he so completely misses the point. And it's also equally clear that he doesn't miss many meals. You have an idea about the future that is somewhere, off on Mars. They don't get it. They're going back to the same things they were doing during the election, PBD. They're singing the same song that they did, and they lost the election. The American people voted. You are welcome to come here. The Statue of Liberty. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. We all come from somewhere, but we come from somewhere legally. We assimilate through legal immigration, and we become part of the great America. But when you come here in mass and you're not documented, and you happen to not be good people from other places, we will take action to protect the citizens and the taxpayers and the voters that just determined in this election what they wanted.
Isn't Michelle Wu the Boston mayor that sent out that memo for the holidays, and she only wanted a party for, she was being accused of being racist?
No white people
she's like,
allowed.
no white people to come, so she can kiss my you-know-what. That's number one.
She's a racist. That was a rape by definition.
Yeah. She's
Mayor
racist.
Wu committed an act of racism on the Boston budget by sending out a city-sanctioned
There it is. That's
invitation.
her.
She did it. She was using Boston taxpayer money to create a party that was racist.
Yep.
And you say, well, if it's against white people, it's not racist. Look, it's been said by people of all colors. Reverse racism is racism. Any racism is racism. And she is a racist.
Yeah, Tom, bingo. But anybody that's illegal coming in, come on in. And just really quick, I know you mentioned the Laken Riley pan. I know that's a story that we'll get to. But let's just, a couple things that happened. Today, the FBI and DOJ refused to testify in front of Congress on threats of Homeland Security because of these open border policies, number one. And also, and I'm not praising this, I'm not trying to be cool about it, Rob could look it up, all these illegals going to all these sanctuary cities. Today, Pat, a Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg's assistant, was robbed, attacked by an illegal immigrant with 5 arrests since 2023. He's a Venezuelan Tren de Agua member. And taxpayers, our taxpayers, your taxpayers, paid for his hotel. So that's now it's starting to hit home, and they can't deny
Where
it.
he rested up so he could commit the crime.
So he could commit the crime. And he was looking at the camera, and he was like yelling and talking all that crap. And that's what's up. And I'll talk about the Laken Riley thing
Rob,
after.
play that clip, the last clip with, this guy to me is a star. He's a superstar. Ability to reason, very, very calm, but a fighter. Play this clip on CNN. Go ahead.
Promise you with every fiber of my being, because I'll probably be one of those people, that if anybody comes for these people and tries to drag them out by force, there will be protests of people like me, American citizens, who are going to stand there and do everything possible to prevent these women and children, which is all who these people are.
Yeah.
From being forced, from being
How about the terrorists? How about the convicted?
How do you
Stop. How do you know who it is?
That's the problem.
Stop. I'm sorry. I live next to these people. I can tell you they are women and they are children. Are there terrorists among them? I don't know. But I can tell you that
and neither does the government.
But I can tell you. But let me tell. Okay. But what I'm telling you right now, practically speaking, is that there will be people, American citizens, who will prevent these little kids from being dragged out of these shelters. There are. And what's going to happen to these people? What is going to happen to the military when the military opens fire on us?
Shut up.
We're way down a rabbit hole here.
Like, opens fire. Do you see that? And they don't learn their lesson. Who's opening fire? These people, you guys understand the word illegal. The first thing that you've done when you've touched down on American soil, you've already broken the law. They have to get the hell out. And if we have to use military soldiers, because the reserves, what are they doing? The National Guard? They're not actively in war. We have to deploy them. We have to shut down the border and get everybody out, because that 15, 20 million, they're going to stay. They're going to have kids. They're getting flown into all these swing states and battleground states. It's actively, we know what they're doing. Do you think they care about these people?
Let's boil it down even more. When you don't have a point, or your point is without foundation, you have to go to fake fear. And where did she go? She didn't have a point. The other people are starting to chime in, not just Scott, the other guy too, the buzz cut that was on the right. Start to do that. Where does she go? Fake fear. Well, when they start opening fire on the American people, this is not Kent State. My gosh. You create fake fear. That's what it is. That's the take, by the way, and then you name call. There's the technique. So when you hear that, turn it off, because now you know that they've lost the argument.
Yeah, and that's why they're up against the ropes with their network.
So you know how they're always talking about the coastal elites, and basically flyover country. You know, so I'm sure, Rob, I don't know if you can find a map of basically the final electoral college votes. I mean, we understand what happened here. I mean, the far left, literally, on the map goes blue. And then the far right on this example right here also goes blue here. Isn't it ironic that the three people that we showed speaking, number one was the people in LA.
Yep.
Number two was New York, right?
Yep, Boston.
Oh, no, Boston. My apologies, Boston. Number three was Illinois, basically the one liberal Midwest city right there, unless you want to count Minnesota, which is basically even at this point. But you know what it reminds me of is, you ever see these stories where there's a burglar and there's a breaking and entry, and the person whose home it is shoots the burglar, but then somehow, some way, they get sued or they go to jail for shooting the burglar that went in their house. And it's like, well, he's not a burglar. Technically, he was a unauthorized recipient of unlocked door policies. It's like the guy was breaking and entering, trying to rob, steal, and possibly do worse to my family. But even Mayor Eric Adams, I don't know what happened there, right? I know he likes turkey. Shout out to Thanksgiving. But isn't it ironic that once he started telling illegal migrants, listen, don't come to New York City. It's the most expensive city in the country. Like, we can't afford you. All of a sudden, these legal ramifications started popping up right here.
Weird.
But
he broke ranks and they went after him.
So what I would tell the illegal migrants that are here is go to LA. Enjoy LA. Stay in LA. Be there. Enjoy California. Stay in California. The reality is, remember this exchange that Tom Homan had with AOC? This was very, very powerful. And she was lost for words. She goes, so you're just recommending the separation of families, children separated from their parents. He goes, yeah, well, what do you think happens when a actual citizen of the United States gets arrested? The parent goes to jail and they're separated from their kid. It's no difference. And she's like, well, next question.
Yeah.
There's no answer to that. The reality is, when you break the law, you're going to be separated from your children.
And by the way, I don't think these guys going to stop. I think Trump's going to use military, and I think that's going to be mayhem. I think they're going to go try to protest. But I think this time around, more people are with Trump than they were in 2016. So there's going to be fewer games played. I'm convinced it's going to be fewer games played, because they're looking like morons. Like, MSNBC can't get up there and say, hey, look what they're doing. They're separating. They're like, dude, I want the place to be safe. Be quiet. Get out of business. And by the way, check this out. You know what I'm convinced of? I'm convinced even if Soros bought MSNBC, nothing would happen. Because I think the American people are like, done. I think American people are like, look, man, we saw what you just did. Most of them, who are not going to forget what all the games that was played, but even this guy here, we are excited about the Christmas season being here. The former presidential candidate that was running, Kamala, said the following thing about Christmas, and I want to tell you what happened with this hat here. Rob, play this clip.
How dare we speak Merry Christmas?
Oh, my God.
How dare we?
Wow.
Well, guess what? We're saying Merry Christmas again.
For this Christmas season, Valuetainment, we sat there, our team agreed, we're going to come out with Merry Christmas gear. Bold. FYI, we launched these 3 hats, okay, last week. These 3 hats, limited numbers that we launched, just to see how the market was going to react to it. Do you know which one sold out within seconds? This was gone in no time. There were people that bought 10 of these at a time, okay? This was gone. Right now, we have 16, 17 of these left. If nothing's been ordered right now, they can order. Rob, if you can go to vtmerch.com, specifically the Christmas season gear, if you can go there, there's some interesting scripture in the middle of these hats. For those of you that are going to church, you're going to like the scripture that's in here. If you order it, you'll see it. We have a ton of Christmas gear. Future looks bright, Christmas gear. Yesterday, I was in Orlando, walking around, looking at a couple events to possibly do an event in the future. And you know what was amazing? I saw folks wearing the Valuetainment Future Looks Bright gear, running up, PBD, Future Looks Bright. I loved taking pictures, videos with them. I have in my phone right now probably 100 pictures of folks that are posting Valuetainment gear, Future Looks Bright, with kids, with families, voting, all of it. Anybody that places an order right now of the Christmas gear, you will get a free ornament sent to you. So during Christmas, on your tree, you will have one of the best Christmas trees in the world because it's going to have the Future Looks Bright red ornament on it. So go place your gear, order specifically if you want to get one of these because this one's flying. You got the ugly sweaters. You got also some stuff for your kids, babies as well, if you want to get them a onesie. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.